What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. I just watched Leatherface. So first off, let's do some cleanup. I was going to go watch American Made this weekend, and for some reason, my local theater's like, no, we're not going to have a preview screening. We're just not even going to have the entire movie, so I'm going to have to figure out how to watch that. Don't have a lot of money, can't do a lot of driving, and I'm going to a wedding this weekend, so it's all just falling apart. And there are 2 Netflix movies that are dropping this weekend. Going to do a lot of binging tomorrow. I will have both of those reviews out for you, hopefully an American Made review. If you guys are not on the Stardust app, that's where I do all my reviews that I do not put on this channel. I reviewed every movie that's come out on DVD and Blu-ray and movies that I missed. So if you guys want to get on that app, it's super cool. And PopXCast, it's a podcast where we talk about all things nerdy and geeky and awesome. We just talked about the top 10 underrated comic book movies of all time. I am talking very fast right now. Let's get into the movie, the reason why you're here. Oh, you know what? Who cares? Who cares? So if you guys are new to this channel and you don't know how I do reviews, I like to talk about the good and then the bad and then give my score at the main end. So if you want to skip what I'm saying, who cares? Skip it. Go. I'm doing it again. So Leatherface is directed by 2 very talented French directors and stars a bunch of people. Danny Rand from Iron Fist, that's cool, and one of my favorite actresses from one of my my favorite horror movie of all time, The Conjuring. So she was very good, by the way. And I enjoyed the aspect of conflicting genres here. This is not just a horror movie; it's a whodunit, who's going to put on the mask kind of mystery. If you've never seen any of the other movies, you don't really know anything about it. It's very interesting in that aspect. I, for one, to me it was obvious, but a lot of people's going to watch this and they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, who's going to end up?" That was cool. Speaking of great nods, there are some fantastic nods to other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, not just the original, but the sequels as well, so that was awesome. If you like gore, there's gore. If you like crazy characters, these 2 characters are lunatics. I mean, it works super well. This one also really earns its R rating. Sex scene on top of a corpse. I didn't hate any of the acting either. I mean, I thought they all did a very good job, or at least a good job. And the directors bring something to the table that I believe wasn't there in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D movie that came out a few years ago. So I do believe this is the better movie. It's interesting because the people that you're rooting for are horrible people, yet the cops and the police officers are horrible people, even though they're the ones that you want to win. Everybody in this movie is corrupt. It's a very dark, disgusting looking movie. At times it gets a little much, but I guess it worked for the tone that they were going for. And it's a B movie with a B movie budget, so all the flaws, I guess I can't strike it too hard. It's not going to put me into the positive on this movie, but I will say that for what it did and for what it was made for, I guess these flaws are something that's going to come with movies like that, but there were, of course, things you can do better, and let's talk about that. The first scene was horrible. The first scene of a movie is supposed to grab you and pull you in. No, it was horribly shot. I hate all of the close-up. What is up with all of the zoom-ins, the random zoom-ins and close-up? Aesthetically, this movie fell apart for me in so many different ways, and that's the only reason I will say that the direction fell flat at times, is because the ways the shots were composed horribly in parts of this movie, and I think that's the fault of the directors and maybe the cinematographer. I will say the directors did a good job in some aspects, but when it came to the technical aspects, the movie just fell apart for me. There were a couple shots that were gorgeous, but to me, they just, the movie didn't look right. Dialogue is atrocious at times, and it's a horror movie for sure, and it finds its way into these everlasting cliches. I mean, some of the words that these guys were saying and some of the sentences just, oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie, 20 minutes into this movie, I had to leave and come back. 1, because I'm a busy person and I had a lot to do that day, but 2, it didn't grab me like I want. I was getting bored. I was like, okay, this movie's going down a path that it cannot come back from. It did come back, it got better, but the first 20 to 30 minutes were just plain bad to me, and I did not like it. Very scrambled, chaotic. The movie struggles finding focus, and I think that's the biggest flaw with Leatherface, is there is no focus. It goes here, it goes here, it goes here. The end goal, and even when we get to the end goal, it doesn't feel like it pays off as much as we want it to, or as much as I wanted it to. Once again, this is all subjective. If you guys disagree with me and like this movie, that's awesome. I can see why a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre can like this movie a lot more than I did. I really enjoyed the first movie, but other than that, I'm not really a huge fan of this franchise. My grandmother is. She loves these movies. And every time something gets to where I'm invested, they lose me. They get me for a second, and then they lose me. It happened throughout this movie, and once again, I fault the directing there. They did so many things that were good and so many things that were bad. It's like a relationship. I guess a bad relationship. I disagree with the worst Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie yet. I disagree with that. I think this is not the worst. I think they put up a good effort here. Unfortunately, I believe it falls in traps that it continued to set for itself all throughout the movie. It's a well-made attempt at a course correction, but it's an attempt. It's one that missed the mark for me. And I just don't know if we needed this movie. I mean, I love a good villain with mystery. I like not knowing where a villain comes from. It worked for the Joker. It worked for Darth Vader up until, 1999. Once again, do not destroy me over this because this is just my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of this franchise. I only really enjoyed the first movie, but I am going to give Leatherface a 45%. Although that is a 45% saying that people who are really into this franchise and really enjoy these kind of movies, these B movies, they're not for me for the most part, but I'm going to recommend watching this because you can definitely find some fun in there and there is enjoyment to be had. It's just not for me. So what did you guys think of Leatherface? Did you have a chance to check it out? I know I had to pay for it, but you guys can definitely check it out in theaters when it comes out. I believe October 20th, something around that date. It's going to be super fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. You guys are the absolute best. Be sure to tune back into my channel this weekend. We got a lot of movie reviews, hopefully some trailer reactions. I cannot wait. And just thanks for watching my channel. It's really awesome that you guys watch my videos every week and every day. And that means a lot to me. You guys are the absolute best. Catch you later.